All right, how's it going, everyone? So in this video here, we got the GTX 460 216-bit, a little bit better than the 192, was the 256-bit. We'll go over the mods, what I've done to this card so far. This is an EVGA model, not a great one, but it does pretty well for after the mods. It does pretty well. Haven't gotten to do any kind of chilled runs on this card yet, because that's generally what I do is chilled runs until I do get myself a GPU pot to do dry ice, and then eventually LN2 I do chilled loops. So this card here is the EVGA GTX 460 216-bit. It has been delidded. As you can see, the core is sideways on this one here, has a fairly large core, and that kind of helps make it so that way it's easier to cool, to be honest. This is just a 3-phase card, as you can see here. Just 3-phase. 2 low side, 1 high side MOSFET, and that's it. That's all it is. And one phase for the memory. It's generally what it is on these older cards. Sometimes you'll have some models with 2-phase on the memory, but since this is a lower tier model of this card, it's just a single phase for the memory. And it does have two 6-pin plugs, so you can put a little bit of power through as long as you can keep the VRM nice and cool. More or less the MOSFETs, the caps, and the inductors stay fairly cool from my testing. Again, only done it on water, but have done pretty good just on water, not even chilled. Okay, so what I've done to it so far. Extra caps, as you can see. We got 6 extra caps onto it. Fairly short terminals to the existing caps on the other side. Fairly short. I'm thinking about shortening them up a bit more, but from testing, this works actually pretty good. That's what I've done here. I was thinking about adding some more caps, some MLCC caps to these ones back here, and we'll see about that. And then we also got these caps over here, which I might add on as well. I don't think it's going to help me that much, to be honest, but I can just add them on just in case. It's more or less power delivery to the VRM, not at VRM, but to the VRM. So power in to these caps, then go to the VRM, and then to the core. This card also was missing 2 of the surface mount caps as well. I also added them on. These are 270 microfarad caps. I wish I had some 470s or 330s, but these 270s work just fine, and added those onto there, and that's pretty good. After adding those on, pretty good. I also added on caps to the core, and these caps here on the core are for the actual core itself, and also these ones on the side here, as you can see. All right, so the memory controller on NVIDIA is the exact same voltage as your actual chips, the voltage that your chips get. So your memory controller gets the exact same voltage. So what I did was add on these MLCC caps right here and here and here, and these caps here actually go to the memory controller that's on the core, right? And then these ones here, these MLCC caps, each of these are 47 microfarad caps, each one of these. These ones down here are 20. These are 20 microfarad, roughly 20 microfarad caps for the actual memory controller voltage. And that actually helped out quite a bit from my testing for raising the frequency, especially after adding on the actual voltage control onto it. And it did help quite a bit. And then again, I added on these as well because these were blank. These spots here were blank, so I added those on. This card here is generally on a stock blower style without backplate or anything like that, so I can put this back on to the air, like the actual air. I'm going to be running a bunch of benchmarks with it, a bunch of games, and that to show the performance of the card stock versus overclocked. And since I have it fully modded the way I have it, it'll do a lot better. Now, what else I did was add on to These are all 40, all of these are 47 microfarad caps. I had lots of them for this card here, and I only have a few left due to the fact I did every single one of these. I believe they're 0806 capacitors. That might be a bit bigger, but that's what I'm pretty sure they are. Each one of these are 47 microfarad caps, which are basically the biggest ones you can get for this size of a cap, these MLCCs. That's what I got for this card here. And every single one of these for this memory controller has been done. Or the memory chips itself, sorry. And then over here, same thing. So it's basically 2 per chip. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 in total, or 8 chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And all of those have been done. That's all I've really done with the card, except for I did do. So down here is the voltage controller. If you want me to make a video on going through the data sheet to show what I did, I also made it so that way I had no overcurrent protection. So here, and see this blob here. This actually has a piece of wire in it. This blob of solder. It's just connecting 2 pins together, ILIM, and another pin together to make it so that way it has no overcurrent protection. The only thing is when you do that, and then this wire here goes to this potentiometer, which is for voltage sense. This is technically a 500 ohm. I didn't have another 100 ohm trim pot. A 100 ohm would have been better. A 50 ohm technically is around what I wanted, but I only had a 500 ohm. It works though. For the voltage mod for this, for feedback, I could only gain roughly 30 millivolts for a lot of benchmarks. And a lot of benchmarks, like the older 3D Mark, the voltage spikes on it were so bad, the feedback mod did not work at all, basically. Like even putting it all the way down too much, still it would hit over voltage protection, not over current, because I had the overcurrent protection mod done. But the voltage sense pin, if you did it with the voltage sense pin, again, just leave me a comment down in the comment section below and I'll show you how to do the voltage sense mod on this card and other cards. Because some controllers are really, really bad for the feedback pin. Some cards don't care about feedback pin and you can go as far as you want on it. But this controller was terrible. So voltage sense, which you have to use a low ohms or a like 50 to 100 ohm potentiometer and use that to increase the voltage. So that way there's no over voltage protection. And then you have to do the overcurrent protection mod on it as well to make sure you didn't hit overcurrent protection. It'll just shut the card down basically, or put it into a limp mode. Now this pot is I do believe, yeah, it's this one here is a 50 kilo ohm pot. So this is a 50 kilo ohms. Plenty for this. I could have used a smaller pot, but I didn't have one. So this 50 kilo ohm pot. So this line here just goes over to ground, which this is a good ground spot, which is just a connection point to hold on the DVI port. And then this wire here goes all the way over, up and around. And I did this just due to the fact, like up through this hole here, because it's technically not used on this card. These holes all throughout here are not used, even with the blower style. So I just put it up through there. And then that goes over to, this is for memory, it goes to the memory controller here. And that's just a feedback pin. And that feedback pin it's good enough. There's no like overcurrent protection, over voltage protection. So you can do as high as you want, basically. For this memory, I didn't have to raise the actual voltage a whole lot, which is good. And you can't really raise the voltage a whole lot just on water. Like on LN2, you could raise it farther, and in dry ice you can, but LN2 would have been the best bet to raise the actual memory voltage up farther. And then you gotta, again, worry about a lot more when you do that anyways. So I didn't have to raise the voltage a whole lot to get the frequencies that I wanted. It was pretty good. But that's all I've done with this card so far. Cat mods on everything I could, basically. And then what I want to do with this card is maybe do PLL on it. That's about it. That's basically all I can really do. Just do PLL and then redo caps or add more caps in to everything. Because the core here, I still have the center part to do. And then all these 0402s, these really small caps, I can do those. And that can actually help quite a bit on these cards here. It can help quite a bit. So, and I do have some really high end caps that I could add on to that, just add on to, or just replace, like get rid of these and just add on a new one. And since they're such high end, they'll be a lot better than what I have here. And then, so this card here, I got free. Someone dropped it off for me at my door and said, "Here, I read your 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 post online. Here's a free card," and they gave me a couple extra free things. This card did not work before. I had to reflow. It was these 3 chips here that were the bad ones. I had to reflow. I reflowed all of them, but turned the card on and it was just artifacting without doing anything. Like hard artifacting thing and just crashing. So I reflowed these memory chips, and I only knew that I'd have to do like a reflow on it and didn't have to worry about much because I checked the card over for 1. And 2, it's because the old blower style cards and this style of blower style card, it puts a lot of pressure on these right here and here, and then also onto these sides here. But these right here, when the core starts getting hot, generally has an IHS on it, but it starts getting hot and the PCB actually starts to warp. And if it's warm, everything's warm and things start to warp a bit, it can crack the actual BGA underneath the chips. So I just add a bunch of flux, heat the board up, went over each one of these chips for a short amount of time with the hot air and reflowed the chips. And it was these 3. I tested after doing these 3. It was either one of these 3 or all 3 of these. And that's how I fixed the card, and it works pretty good now. Again, leave me a comment in the comment section below if you want me to go over the controllers for like the memory controller and also the core voltage controller, and to show how to do overcurrent protection, and either just do a feedback mod if you don't have like proper cooling, just want to keep it on air. Feedback mod can technically work. And then if you're more if you got chilled water or a really good loop that you can do some good overclocking on, I can show you how to do a VSense mod. Wouldn't be the exact same as the way I would show here. I would show how to add on a resistor to this, so that way the potentiometer here does not go over a certain point, as in you can go up to 2 volts and kill the core accidentally, basically, with the way I have it done. It's just I'm very cautious of how I'm doing this, so I didn't really mind doing that. The other thing with the voltage sense mod that's done on it is this trim pot can get hot. And since I'm running it fairly cool, have air on the back of the card, keeping everything cool, I've done testing onto it. And since I'm not going to like 1.6, 1.7 volts, this actually stays fairly cool. I have tested the card at 1.4 gigahertz. Doesn't exactly help a whole lot just on water, so I just did a bunch of testing at about 1.3 volts and almost got 1.1 gigahertz out of this card, which is pretty good just on water. That's all I've done on this card so far for mods, and then stay tuned. Comment in the comment section below on what else you would like me to do on this card, or just to show on other videos on how to modify this card further. Go for, data sheets online, show the data sheets, or just I'll download the data sheets and I can go over a very specific video on how to do each one of these mods. And then eventually, like I said, I'll do a mod probably for PLL voltage as well. No line calibration. Another one mod I was thinking about doing, since it's just a 3-phase card here, was doing a mod so that way it locks all 3 phases, so that way they're always running. Is it very efficient? No, but I'm trying to push this card as far as I can, try to do 1.2, maybe up to 1.3 gigahertz. We'll see what I can do. Locking all 3 phases might give me that little bit of an edge. The other mod that I can do on this card as well is raise up the actual frequency of the the VRM as well. So that way, instead of it running around 330 kilohertz, I can get up to 500 kilohertz, and it might actually help me a bit more on, getting maybe another extra 50 to 100 megahertz out of the card, which would be amazing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on this quick tutorial on what I've done with this card. And again, leave me a comment in the comment section below on if you want me to go over a whole bunch of other stuff on this card or other cards like this. Again, thank you to all my viewers, subscribers, and donors. You guys are helping this channel more than you know. And again, as always, don't forget to get her done. Peace.